Hey guys, it's Karl, and I know this vid has taken me forever to make, but I finally have an update on the house that we're building / moving into. This is the second vid in the series, and as of 3 days ago, we have started construction, or I should say demolition, because that technically has to come first. So a bit of a backstory in case this is the first time you're watching. We are building a new place in Toronto. We should be moving in maybe a year and a half from now. This entire process, just to this point, has already taken close to a year, but I just wanted to create this video series to share what it's like, and obviously as a great memory for me down the road. So the house, a lot of you have asked what it looks like. As a little refresher again, it's my parents' place. It's where I grew up, spent close to 15 years. It's where I went to high school. They've been there for close to 20 years now, so many great memories, so much time spent, and what I wasn't really prepared for in this entire thing was how emotional the move would be, not just for myself, but for my parents as well. They've been handling it great. I can only imagine what they're kind of going through right now, but a little bit of silver lining. Creating this video was a bit of a memory, a bit of a memento to the house that we've spent so much time in, so here it is. So the area of the house is in Toronto, North York to be specific. It's actually 15 minutes with no traffic from this place, so it's still really close by. It's a very typical 50s/60s bungalow style. It's got a very mid-century modern look with around 1,600 square feet for the main floor and a fully finished basement. But the beauty about this house, which I never really appreciated growing up, was the plot of land that it's on. The actual lot size is pretty big for Toronto, and if anyone knows the real estate in this city, we are one of the most expensive cities for real estate in North America. The average house price in the city is over $1.6 million, and lot sizes are tiny. You're usually right next to your neighbor, and this house in particular has a great ravine. We have no neighbors in the back. We've got a great backyard, front yard, and even on the side, we have an ample amount of space. So I think my parents picked a gem, to be honest, so big kudos to them. It's a big reason why we're still keeping it. So quick little tour through, which I'll just be sharing bits of B-roll that I snagged right before demolition started. You can see that the porta potty is already in place and the large garbage bin is sitting on the driveway. So the house does have a little garage port that will actually be converted into an actual usable garage, just not a little port. The entranceway will stay in a pretty similar spot, actually just be moved up a bit forward, and as you enter, that's just the main little foyer area where you typically throw your keys. We've got a little closet there for your coats, and you take 2 to 3 steps up into the living room area. This is where the fireplace and couch were, and this is where we typically hung around as a family, where our Christmas tree was in the winter, where we would kind of go after dinner, maybe chat by the fireplace. And what I loved about this area, the big windows in the front, because it's south facing, you get so much nice natural light in. I really wanted to keep that area moving forward, just make it obviously more modern. On the other side of the fireplace was the formal dining room, and because it was just my dad, my mom, and myself, we didn't really eat there too much. We mostly ate at the small little breakfast table off to the side. But we did use that area for larger family dinners or when we had people over. And the kitchen area, which you can already see some of the kitchen cabinetry is already removed. Thankfully, we are going to keep most of the appliances, keep most of the cabinetry. We'll actually relocate that to downstairs because it's a bit of a shame to throw out decently new appliances, great cabinetry, because my parents did a pretty big reno when we initially moved in. All of that is still in perfect condition. So we're just moving that to the downstairs, which we'll get to. Going from the kitchen through the little hallway gets you into the main bedroom area, and it was just a 2-bathroom place. So 1 bathroom, which you see here on the main floor, which was shared for the 3 bedrooms. So I grew up initially in the middle bedroom. You can tell the color orange, that was my bedroom. And when I moved into high school, I wanted something a bit bigger. You go through a bit of a phase. I actually moved into the corner bedroom and I painted it super dark when my parents were actually on vacation. They never wanted me to paint the walls, but I decided when they were gone to paint it in this really dark navy. They were pretty pissed off, but I guess since it was done, there was nothing that they could really do. So in high school, that's where I was. That's where I got my first Xbox. That's where I got actually my first TV / was allowed to have a TV in my bedroom that I saved up all my pocket money for my first job. I would game in that room till the wee hours of the night. The original Modern Warfare for 360 crushed. Absolutely crushed. I was Prestige 10, Gold Star, level 55. I was so good at that game. That was my teen years in that bedroom. And my parents' room was at the end of the hallway. And as a bit of a reference point, if we pull up SketchUp here, this will be the main area where the kitchen actually will be into the TV room. That will be at the very back of the house, looking back onto the ravine area. And that's pretty much the main floor. It's pretty simple, pretty basic layout. There isn't really any wasted space. And in the entranceway, that's actually the stairway that goes downstairs. That's where the office was, and actually where we had our first computer with the good old days of dial-up, rushing home from school, trying to log into MSN, getting so many viruses on LimeWire, yelling at my mom, "Get off the phone, I've got to chat with girls on MSN." That was, my upbringing in that area downstairs. And that's actually right next to it where we had our TV, rocking N64, rocking GameCube, good old PlayStation 2, SOCOM days, the first online multiplayer game that I played. Some pretty awesome memories there on a tube TV. And going from that room into this large room, which is actually a walkout onto the back of the backyard, this has really become a kind of storage place as I've become older. And that area right now has some pretty great potential, but the one problem is the ceiling height. It's around 7 feet, so just slightly taller. And I am right now still on the fence if we should spend the extra money to underpin the basement, which means you have to excavate down. You'll dig 2 feet down to create a larger, basement height, and you'll get around a 9-foot ceiling. So that does cost around $40,000. On the fence, I think it's worth it in the long run because once everything is done, you can never do it again, and at least that is a selling feature for the future when we decide to sell it, and you can obviously use the space for a lot more things. I'm thinking golf simulator, I'm thinking gym, possibly sauna down there, but let me know, should I underpin the basement? And last but not least, you've just got the final washroom and the laundry room / mechanical room, and that is my childhood home and parents' place kind of summed up in a quick little tour. And going back outside, I know that it's kind of tough to see, especially right now, even though it is April, almost May, we still got snow. The leaves still haven't come out yet on all the trees. It's a really nice area once everything is nice and lush. But once summer comes, once the better weather should be right around the corner, all of those trees will be nice and full. So it's a beautiful neighborhood to kind of live in for the next chapter in Cat and I's lives. Cat and I and the dog and Link's lives. And I guess the next steps for the house build, now that they're doing all the demolition, it's the real fun stuff. You move away from the technical drawings, you move away from a lot of the permits, all of that weird stuff, into finishes, which is super cool. This is the time where we start to select color palettes. It's the time when we start to select what materials we want to use, which brands we want to work with, and I think it's the really fun design aesthetic part. And as a little reference, we'll go through each area of the house and I'll show some examples of what I'm initially thinking, and maybe you guys can share your thoughts as well. So we'll start off with the outside, and from the even initial renders to what we want moving forward, we actually already placed a deposit for them because prices are only going up. Windows, they are the most expensive thing for whatever reason, especially if you choose to have custom-made ones that go from floor to ceiling. The company that we went with is BLDG Shop, and like I mentioned, they make these beautiful custom windows, floor to ceiling, triple glazed, all that good stuff, and we did go with black aluminum, so there is no maintenance. So what you see on the drawing, just change that essentially to black. We did have to make a couple compromises because I think anyone that goes through this process realizes you can just go ridiculous in terms of budget, stuff starts to add up so quickly. So we removed a couple windows on the east side, and we will actually keep all of the windows on the bottom floor. And my main reasoning for that, you won't use them as much. Even though it is a walkout, we will still have a deck that lives over top, and those windows are fairly new, and I know that my dad worked really hard to install them, so that's a compromise that saves us around $30,000. So I think that was a huge bonus for us. And lastly, a lot of the wood fixtures that you see, so these slats that come over the windows, as well as the garage, will be actually made in a composite wood finish. So this is from a place called New Tech. It gives you that wood look without all of the maintenance of wood, because although wood is really nice, it's really warm. If you don't maintain it, if you don't sand and revarnish it every, say, couple years, it starts to wear out and looks, a bit worn. And one of the main things that I wanted moving forward was the least amount of maintenance, because I just suck at it, and that's just being very honest. I don't want to spend time maintaining a house. Inside, for the main living room area, this will be a really cool spot where we have a double height ceiling. So you can imagine 20-foot ceilings with those massive pieces of glass that span the entire wall. I do want to have a pretty chill vibe in this area. I'm not looking to put any tech, no TV on the fireplace. This is an area for family, for hanging out, for decompressing after a long day. And I really want to give it a natural look. So for the wood floors, for most of the house, we're looking for a colorway like this, very neutral. This is a white oak floor from a company, once again, made in Canada, Unique Parquet. So big shout outs to them, as we'll be partnering with them for our floors. And for that double height area in the living room, I am actually thinking of putting some wood on the ceiling as well to give it, once again, a very natural feel. I'll leave some inspo photos. Let me know what you guys think of these. I think that will look awesome in that room. Fireplace on the main wall, once again, using a lot of those materials from the outside coming to the interior, so it will still be in concrete with a really modern fireplace opening on the bottom. I think that will look really nice. We'll have a little library/office area to one side, maybe a bit more thought on that later on, and switching into the back of the house now, so where the bedrooms currently are, where the kitchen will be. We're just looking at very clean, minimal, modern white cabinets. I think that's pretty timeless, and we are working with handstone for all of our countertops and stone in the place. So we are thinking of this Calcutta Extra for the little waterfall countertop and backsplash, and maybe for our washrooms we might use this Embrace, which has some of these speckles of white in it. Once again, both very neutral. I think they'll fit in great. And for our hardware, we are partnering with Kohler in matte black taps. I think that will actually match beautifully with the window frames. And what's funny, since I don't have any of the actual hardware yet or any of those taps, I've used my Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra on my mood board to get the color scheme in, because they'll have a very similar finish. So a piece of tech has come in handy for this. So yeah, that is pretty cool. And some additional little things, some custom pieces of millwork that we're looking to do is a little TV console area on the far side of the wall. I'm still working out details, and perhaps no-see cabinetry. We'll be working with them to create a cool little setup area, because you know that, TVs are a huge part of the tech channel, and I just want to create something special on that back wall, and we'll see what else, what other cool things we can make. But always curious to take your guys' ideas. That's the main floor. Going up to the upstairs, we of course have the main studio area, which was one of the biggest bucket list items that I wanted on the list. A lot more planning has to be done on that area, but you can see even on the blueprints and in this SketchUp design how cool the future studio will look. Like I said, lots more planning on that. Going up fully to the second floor, we of course have all of the bedrooms here. So we've got the primary bedroom that has a washroom. I'm thinking of, once again, very neutral gray washrooms. Really open to your guys' thoughts on this. We'll also have a walk-in closet, and on the opposite side will be the second and third bedrooms for kid 2 and 3, or maybe until then, a podcast room. Cat, don't kill me. And going on downstairs, because it's fully usable, if we do decide to have that underpin and create that extra height in the basement, so we would have 9-foot ceilings in the basement. This is where our future gym will be. That's where my squat rack, which is in my studio right now, will go to. Perhaps a little golf simulator in the basement. That will be on the far side of the area. But like I mentioned, the kitchen that is moving from my current parents' place, that's going to be moved to downstairs. And it's always great to have that option as a separate little walkout area. You could actually partition that area off and rent that out separately. Someone can live there on their own. It has its own washroom. We actually will have the 4th bedroom in the basement as well. So you could theoretically, if we ever wanted, rent that place out, or more realistically, it just increases the house value later on. But anyways, that's kind of what I'm thinking. This was sort of a quick update vid, depending, I've been blabbering on now for the past little bit, but really happy to hear all of your guys' input. If you have any suggestions on finishes, on the look, on the aesthetic, now is the time to get that in because we're going through all of that planning. I hope you guys enjoyed this second vid of this build series, and mom and dad, I hope you watch this video and see what the potential is, and it's a great memory of the house that we all grew up in together, and I'm happy that I got to capture some of the final moments of it. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm done rambling. That's it. Till my next house update vid, or till just my next vid in general. We'll catch the rest of you guys then. Peace!